Vem är du?
Jag är döden.
Hi, everybody. I recently watched Ingmar Bergman's 1957 film, The Seventh Seal, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. The Seventh Seal is a reference to the Bible. In particular, it's a reference to the Book of Revelations, which is the last book in the Bible, which talks about how the world is going to end. So, the end of the world, or the apocalypse, as we should be calling it from now on, is brought about by the Lamb, who in the Bible is Jesus Christ, breaking 7 seals. The first 4 seals are grouped together as the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and they are pestilence, war, famine, and death. The 5th seal is of the martyrs in heaven crying out to God, asking when they are going to be avenged for their martyrdom. The 6th seal is your more usual apocalyptic scenario. This involves, but is not limited to, the sun turning black, the moon turning into blood, and the sky splitting in half. And finally, the breaking of the 7th seal brings about 30 minutes of silence from God in heaven. This silent God in heaven sets the stage for our director to make what is, in my opinion, the main point of the movie: the uncertainty of faith versus the certainty of death. In the movie, Death is an actual character played by Bengt Ekeroth, and the actor doesn't play Death as evil. Instead, he plays him as just being all about his business. And business is a boomin'. And that's because the movie takes place somewhere in Europe, sometime around the 1300s, which, of course, is the height of the bubonic plague. You know, the disease that in 4 years killed 30 million people, which was half the population of Europe. So the main character, Antonius Block, played by Max von Sydow, is a knight who has just returned home from fighting in the Crusades to find not only are half the people he's ever met either sick or dead, but now death has also come for him.
Kommer du för att hämta mig?
Jag har redan länge gått vid din sida.
Det vet jag.
The knight Antonius Block is actually quite brave in the face of death, and he's brave because he believes that there's a life after death in heaven for him. But he isn't certain, and so he tries to outsmart death by playing a game of chess with him. And he's allowed to live as long as the game continues, and death will even let him live if he wins. But nobody beats death at chess. Antonius will spend the rest of the movie looking for God. He wants God to prove God exists by showing him a real, tangible sign. But this is the breaking of the 7th seal, so that means God is silent. And that would be our whole movie, and the movie would be a major bummer, but we've actually left out our 3rd major character, Yoff. You see, in a lot of ways, Yoff, played by Niels Pape, is the opposite of Antonius. Antonius is a man of property and wealth, and Yoff wishes he could eat grass. Yoff also has religious visions, like, for example, in the beginning of the movie, he envisions the Virgin Mary walking with baby Jesus. He rushes back to his wife to tell her what he saw, and she's kind of like, "Shut up, Yoff, let me go back to sleep." Yoff does not care to solve the great mysteries of life. He just wants to raise his son, chill with his wife, and sing songs about Jesus. And so that brings us back to the main point of the movie. Antonius Block the knight, when faced with his certain death, begins to question his faith and spends the rest of the movie looking for God. Meanwhile, Yoff is able to see God through the small miracles of everyday life. Yoff is too busy living his life to ever stop and question what it all means. Other than that, in terms of a review, the movie is a classic. This is actually Larry David's favorite movie, so if you're a fan of Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm, this might be a movie that you would want to look into. So yeah, definitely watch the movie. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great stretch of time from now until we meet again.